Okay, so let's do a video. Book review. Robert I. Heinlein. Robert A. Heinlein. Citizen of the Galaxy. I show you the original title. Yep. So, what is this about? This is actually 3 books in one. I mean, we have the same protagonist. I mean, we follow the protagonist through his whole lifetime. And it's just less than 300 pages. Almost 250. And this is a thick book when we are talking about when this was written. So forget those 6, 8, whatever 100,000 pages nightmares. These are the real books. So, what is this about? The first section, he's a child. I mean, preteen. He's sold as a slave on a different planet, and no one wants to buy him. So the auctioneer makes a mistake. He says, any bid will work. And a beggar takes on the offer. And the mob, the crowd there is just laughing on this, and this is the shit of the century, so they don't let the auctioneer just piss off. And the beggar buys the boy, thanks to, after a while, some people from the crowd start to do the action, and aristocrat or something of that kind start to give money, and people start to give money to the beggar to outlicit everyone, and he brings home the boy. It's a hilarious start for them. This is the very first scene. The very first scene of the book. Absolutely hilarious. I was so hooked. I read this first as a teenager and I reread it a couple of times. Absolutely hilarious this book is. Although this is kind of hard sci-fi. Although this is not going on the technological side of the things, but the social aspect. Yes, you guessed it right, the main name is slavery is wrong, but this offers much more. This is actually... I show you another book. Tara Pratchett's The Dark Side of the Sun. I also had Strata, he wrote, and that was one of the more famous sci-fi books, novels he wrote. Strata is a weaker version of The Dark Side of the Sun. I will talk a bit later. So, the guy starts to learn how to beg and so on. This would be very boring after a while. Turns out the beggar is actually an international spy. Because, you know, factions and government and slavery is bad and all that kind of jazz. Maybe there is a... like in Star Wars prequel trilogies, some parts of the galaxy wants to get separated. Doesn't really matter. The real thing is, after a while, when the main character, he's Torby, his name is Torby, is getting teen, the his stepfather, because the beggar don't just uses him as for profit, he actually educates him for different languages and whatever he can and that kind of stuff. And he, of course, they are living together, and he has cybernetic arms he can attach and all that kind of. So there are these weird things going on, and he just tells one day that, yeah, I'm a spy, and by the way, I'm sending you away on a spaceship with this merchant civilization, because the situation turned out too hot here for me. And he is actually, we learned from the book that he actually gets captured and, just killed. Maybe it's a suicide like that other book. I look it after. The Man Who Never Misses. It was some first installment for a trilogy or whatever. In itself, it is still a good read, so you don't need to read the whole cycle. The thing there is this rebel guy who uses these attachable weapons to your finger, and if you do this, they shoot stunning needles. They never use deathly thing because that would anger the police or military or whatever. They are living under a very harsh dictatorship or whatever. And we also follow that guy's lifeline all through from the beginning to the end. And he's actually leading a pub. He learned philosophy, military tactics, and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. The point is, he learned these things, and his master plan is that he will become this I Am Legend thing, that he will shoot down exactly 1,000 soldiers from the Emperor's army. And he does that, and there is a secret locker with all the counting the needles he spent and all that. And if he misses, some very occasionally misses, he puts back the extra needles to build up the legend that he never misses. But from the 1,000 needles he shot in this way, he only missed like 5 at first 20 times. So he's really good, really, really good. And he can even shoot on in full-fledged armored people. Not super hard, but there are legends going on that he can even shoot on them. No, the needles wouldn't penetrate those, but the legend is going on. And he actually builds up, the next generation, and in the end he offs himself. Now, here the beggar spy is like very much like that, but we don't just stop there. We send away Torby, So he goes into these merchants. They live their entire lives interplanetary on spaceships. He learns handling guns of the weapons of the merchant ships, and he learns a bunch of negotiating skills. And I that's my favorite part of the novel, actually, because there you are asked, here comes back this, and actually even I call back a foundation and earth, an Asimov novel. That is one of the trilogies which has 5 parts that actually has 6 books. 5 titles, 6 books, and it is a trilogy. Another trilogy is the Hitchhiker's Guide of the Galaxy that also have 5 parts and that only 5 books. Point is, in Dark Side of the Sun, one of the themes is what means human. And humans actually not even the top category of humans. That they are in the middle, and the fourth level of human are the super advanced androids, and there is even a fifth level where you have these extra super intelligent planet-sized things, or and more some stuff beings that live on suns. Is just really the edge of the possibility of imagination. What Terry Pratchett comes up in here, and similarly Isaac Asimov comes up with human cultures very different from each other, and there's a point of Foundation and Earth to show what are the alternatives, what could humanity become if there is not this grand plan of the Foundation to hold humanity to be humanity. It's kind of the idea of Dune, where there is the bioengineerings and technocrats and all that kind of stuff. We have that part here, and that is the middle portion of the book. And one of my favorite negotiation thing is there is this race that don't even come out to meet with the humans, but they know that they have spaceships, so they know they are there, and it would be just inconvenient to exterminate them, and they are intelligent, so, and they are mining huge precious stones, diamonds, and all that, whatever the space equivalent of them. And you negotiate with them that you hoard out your stuff, and they hoard out their stuff. And if you know they want specific items, then you put it in a smaller pack, and then they put extra gemstones there. And the scene is that the freed of people, they call themselves the free people, these merchants, said they actually have very little freedom inside the society. As a society, they can move wherever they want, but they have a very strict social structure within the society. So they live on the spaceship, so they don't have free spaces. You can't carry around your favorite stuff. So your action figures, books, and whatever are constantly just confiscated and traded away on the alien planets, and you never see them again. And one of the things the kids on these ships have are comic books, because those are exciting, but kind of small. And it turns out most of them are confiscated, but they manage to hide away, of course. bunch of them. And it turns out these creatures just love comic books. They are absolutely into them. And they never before tried to put it out because it's just, it's didn't even occur to them they should try it. So they just put it out in regular human planets. But this time, when we put it out, there is a whole bunch of new gemstones. Oh, let's see what happens with them. And the kids bring out the comic books because they get a share of the profit. They what and one page of a comic book comes for a very good quality gemstone. So everyone turns out to be happy, and they literally trade away the most precious hobby items. It's, and it all goes in silent, and you go out one day and go back. The next day at night they come out, they go out, next day you come out, check your stuff. It's so alien of a concept for me, but it's just, I just can't see it in real life, in medieval times, or whatever those ancient tribe on that island you are legally prohibited to get contact to because they get some modern flu and they would just die out. Wonderful. And the last part is, of course, turns out little beggar is actually the one of the inheritor of the richest family from the galaxy, and he actually inherited this massive corporation, the chair of this corporation, and of course this corporation is partly into slavery, so he needs to learn the corporate business and stock trade and all that kind of jazz, and figure out who is leading the galaxy-wide slave trading, and of course it does in the end. It's a bit over my head, and it's not that educational because it lacks details you would need to really delve into, but it inspires uh, attention, to make your own research and get some very basic but pretty useful knowledge for the everyday layman, what stocks are and how they work. It's better than what I got from school, and I even finished uni. So yeah, it's a very good book. Robert A. Heinlein is a very good writer. Although, of course, this was most probably written for teenagers, but it's a considering when it was written, it's kind of actionary, and a lot of stuff happened. And even if the last third of the story is kind of predictable and not that full of glory, it's a very good book if you just want a casual sci-fi. What I come to remind, Bill, the hero of the galaxy, I don't know who wrote it. It also can be connected to this. There is this average Joe drafted into the military, and he's just accidentally wins a very important battle for that emperor, and he gets transfer. He's sent to get a medal straight from the emperor. Of course, it's just substitute, but whatever, he gets lost, and then he has to leave and do some shady business, and he gets eventually gets bring to court, and then he is sent to some military prison. It's a very funny and action-heavy book. It's very short, like 150 pages, at worst 200. I don't think it's even 200. And in the end, he just mutilates himself to get out of the prison, and he gets to be a sergeant, just like the sergeant drafted him into the military, and he's so into the system, he's so into getting out of the system. All this very 1954 or 84, whatever the Orwellian novel was, that he drafts in his own brother, the only person who earns for his family at that point, and his parents are very old, so they will probably die. Like, that there was this father and child daughter in Game of Thrones. There, slavery would have been a solution. Now, because before I start to ramble your nerves, I'm out.